So let's continue with the Pong game. We left it in the last video with the ball moving from the right to the left and we are able to move the paddle up and down. Now the paddle doesn't do anything, the ball just passes straight through. And actually it leaves a little gap if you see, but we can fix these things later on, okay? You'll notice that when it goes through here it leaves that little gap, but it doesn't matter. It works the way we want it to work from the last video, but in this video what we're going to do is we're going to get it so that we do our first collision. So whenever the ball hits the paddle, we're going to get the ball, it won't initially bounce backwards, we'll just get the ball to reset itself, okay? So it'll go back to its original starting position, so it won't pass through the paddle like it just did there, okay? It will, as soon as it hits the paddle, it will just jump back to the start position and it'll come along and jump back to the start position. And when we get this working, this shows that we've got the collision, basics of the collision working. And in the video after this one, we can start looking at allowing it to bounce backwards and then also bouncing at different angles off of the sides, okay? So I've already generated the code for this, and as the same as the previous videos, I will just talk over the stuff that's different, okay? So in the last video we did Pong 8 underscore ball, okay, so that's the one we've just seen simulated there just now. So in this one here we're going to do Pong 9 underscore collision. So there's only an added bit at the bottom, which is the collision bit. All of the constants here all remain the same. There's a couple of extra constants which I've added in. So we've got the paddle X, okay, so that just gives us the beginning X position of the paddle. So we're going to use this so that we can jump back to the starting point. We've also got a mask, okay, so that we can mask off the Y component of the position, and we're going to use that later on, okay? So all of this is really much the same. We're going to draw the paddle, so we've got a paddle of 20, so in fact that this one here is slightly different, so it's got to be pad len, pad underscore len, okay? Okay, so we've got pad underscore len, and the pad underscore len is up here, okay, 20, okay? So, excuse me. So we've got the initial paddle getting drawn here, as we've seen in all the previous videos. We've got the ball set up, which we've seen in the last video, so the starting position. We've got the main loop here, which we've seen previously, so we check the keyboard. If we press the U, we jump to the move up subroutine. If it's the D, we move to the jump down subroutine, okay? And then there's the moving the paddle, so that's where we actually make the choice of the subroutine, and we can move down, okay, and we also jump from the move down, we jump to the move the ball, so it happens at the same time, okay, and also the move up, and we also move the ball, and the ball movement is here. So we've seen all this in the previous videos. I don't need to talk through all this again, but the difference now is that when we get to the bottom here, move ball, we can jump to check collision, okay? So we've got the move up, move down, and then we've got the move ball section here. So this is the ball moving from the right to the left. Now we're wanting to, at this point, as the ball moves along at each point, we want to check and see whether it has actually collided. So this is a new section here. So this is basically the collision. So this little section here. So what we're going to do is we're going to check and see the X position of the ball. Okay, so the position format for the ball is YYXX. So we're going to mask off the YY bit, okay? So if we and the a value with the X mask. So it's at X mask, which actually means we're masking off the Y, so we're only left with the X. Okay, that's the way I've written it. It might seem a little bit counterintuitive looking at it now, but so that's the X mask. So the first thing to check is that the ball has actually reached the paddle. Okay, so we could have the ball heading along towards the paddle, and there's never going to be a collision because the ball hasn't actually reached the paddle. So whenever the ball actually gets to the paddle position, so the paddle position is 0, 0, 0A, so we're just a little bit in from the screen here. So we're at the screen, we come in 0A. So whenever the ball actually hits this point 0A, then it has the potential of having hit the paddle. Okay, if it hasn't reached that point, it has no potential of having hit the paddle. Okay, so we're going to check that first of all. So if it hasn't reached the paddle here, then there isn't going to be any collision. So we would jump to a no collision point. Okay, now the other option is that it actually has reached the X position of the paddle. So if it's reached the X position of the paddle, then we can check and see whether the Y positions are within the range. Okay, so what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to check and see whether the paddle is above the position of the ball or it's below the position of the ball. Okay, because if it's up down below it or up above it, again, there's going to be no collision. But we need to find out whether it is actually within this range. Okay, so we do that in the next two checks. So we're going to check whether the ball is above the paddle. Okay, so we can compare the R3 and R2. So R3 is the position of the ball. Okay, so R3 is going to be the 7-0, which is the Y position of the ball. So the position of the ball in the Y direction is fixed, which makes things simple for us. Okay, so that's the Y position of the ball, and we're also checking that and comparing it to the top of the paddle. Okay, so the top of the paddle is R2. Okay, and it jumps if A is less than to no collision. Okay, so we don't get a collision when the top of the paddle, okay, is less than the Y position of the ball. Okay, so the top of the paddle is down below the Y position of the ball, so we don't get a collision. Okay, so in effect, we aren't checking for collisions, we're actually checking for not collisions. And then at the end, if these two options are false, then the other one must be a collision, and we go and do the collision subroutine. So the other one here is to check whether the ball is below the paddle. Okay, so the bottom of the paddle is equal to, so the paddle top plus the paddle last. Okay, so we get the paddle top, and the paddle last is 1300, so we add that on to get the bottom of the paddle. Okay, you can check through these yourself if you want. Okay, now so we go through again this comparison, and we jump if A is greater than to no collision. So if the bottom of the paddle is greater than the position of the ball, it means that the bottom of the paddle is actually above the ball. Okay, so the first check is this one. Okay, the next check is this one. Now, if neither of those checks are true, then the ball must have hit the paddle. It must be within the range. Okay, so if that's the case, then we're going to jump to the ball hits the paddle. Okay, so then you're ending up with two options. We've got no collision, or we've got the actual collision. So in the actual collision one, what we're going to do is just reset the ball. So the ball will come along this way. It's opposite in the camera. The ball will come along, okay, and when it gets to the end and it hits the paddle, it's just going to reset and just bounce back to the starting point. So we've already got that reset set up from the previous video. Okay, so this is the reset here, and this reset loop is just the same as the reset loop that we looked at in the previous video. The other option here is no collision. Okay, if there's no collision, in this case we have to we used R5 for part of this, so what we can do is we can reuse, we can set the ball color into register R5 because we use the ball color in later up in the program. Okay, so it's basically us kind of reusing a register. Okay, so we've only got 5 registers there, 5 basic registers that we can use, so we're having to kind of juggle about a bit and reuse registers. Of course, we've got all the memory locations that we want to. We could shove things into memory locations and push and pop things off, but I wanted to try and keep it as neat and tidy and as the program as short as possible, because we're wanting the game to actually run as fast as we can possibly get it. But as I said previously, to do that we really need an interrupt mechanism, and I'm building the interrupt mechanism into the RTM16 at the moment, and once that's up and built in, I'm hoping Timothy will be able to help me to build it into the RTM16J. Okay, so anyway, that's the crux of the program, and what we're going to do is we'll go terminal, run task, and we can assemble the file, and hopefully the whole thing still assembles. Okay, so that's assembled, and we can load it into the machine. So let's go into the machine, and I've actually already tried it obviously, so we'll reset it and edit, and let's load it in. File, no, not down here, it's open, and it's Pong 9. Pong 9 collision, close, design, user panel, simulate, tick enabled, go. Now it's maybe difficult to see here, but the ball actually just goes past just the top of the paddle. It doesn't touch it here, so in effect it's 1 pixel out. So in this case it just continues all the way through, and you notice it goes all the way through past the ball, and then it goes back to the beginning again. Okay, so there is no collision at this point, and that's what happens when there's no collision. It just continues. Now if we were to actually generate a collision, see if I can get this quickly. Okay, so we're going to generate the collision, so the ball will not go past the paddle, and you see what happened there. If you keep your eye closely on the paddle, you'll notice that the ball does not go past the paddle. It hits the paddle, and then it goes into a reset mode, and it goes back to the original position. There you go. So in effect this is the collision working. Now what we can do is we can take that, what happens when it collides, and we can adjust it for the next video. So I'm not sure actually what's on the next video, if we can have a wee look and see ahead. Paddle ball, so this is the bounce. Okay, so in the next one what we'll do is we will get the ball to hit the paddle. When the ball hits the paddle, we'll get it to bounce back. Okay, now it won't bounce off any of the walls, it'll bounce back and then it'll come through and it'll start moving the opposite direction. Okay, but we'll initially just get, in the next video, just get the ball to bounce backwards off the paddle. Okay, and then after it we can bounce backwards off the paddle, then we'll look at the walls, and we'll see about the ball bouncing at an angle, okay, to the paddle, and then bouncing at an angle to all of the walls. And when we've got the ball bouncing at an angle to all of the walls and coming back to the paddle, that's us ostensibly done all of the difficult bits for the coding. Everything else will be all of the little add-on things that we're going to add on to make the game look like a nice game. Okay, and then after that it will be looking at the interrupt mechanism, which is really a hardware based change to the architecture, and it'll be interesting to see if we get the interrupt working, whether the game really, we can get it to speed up a little bit. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.